welcome to all those who are new, those who are returning, and here to learn, grow, and connect when it comes to building businesses, and not just businesses, but generational wealth in the Black community. And how many people know that in order to build in our community, one of the key pillars is healthy relationships and healthy Black families? Ain't that right? Okay, and that's what this next conversation is gonna be about. And I'm super excited because I believe this may be the first time at InvestFest that we've ever had a Black power couple come out together and talk about how they're building. And this may even be the first time that they ever share the stage for a live conversation. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for acclaimed actor, rapper, mentor, and founder, Joey Badass, and actress, singer, and model, Serayah McNeil. Give it up, make some noise, y'all. Make some noise for Joey Badass. And come on, flannel. Oh, yeah, I like how y'all put that together with the flannel. Oh, y'all look cute. Y'all planned that?
Huh?
Y'all planned the flannel look? I love that.
Yeah,
I love it. Oh my God, I love it. I love it. So welcome to InvestFest, y'all. Welcome. It's your first time here too?
This is our first time here.
Yes.
Yeah, first time. What up, everybody? How y'all doing?
You got any Raising Canaan fans in the building? All right, I know that's right. Joey, we know you from starring in Raising Canaan, Mr. Robot. Your music catalog is crazy. You've been in the game about, over a decade now. Everything from All American Badass to all the albums you've been dropping, major. And Serayah, you broke on the scene when you landed on and recorded music for Empire. Y'all remember Empire? Yes. You gone on to star in Kingdom Business on BET Plus and in the Tyler Perry film Ruth and Boaz on Netflix, which was so cute. Did y'all see that? That movie was so cute. So before y'all got together, y'all already had established yourselves in your career, right? You are both artists. And I feel like y'all soft launched your relationship back in like 2023, kind of dropped it in the music video, and then we found out, okay, y'all official, y'all together, y'all did a cover on Essence magazine together, that was big. Y'all got engaged, y'all had a son in 2025, and now you're here together building wealth and legacy and everything else. And I love that. So I wanted to just start with that question because I feel like when folks come together, we don't always necessarily talk about our finances or money or building generational wealth. You know, when you first get together with somebody, you're talking about all the cutesy stuff. Did y'all ever have a conversation about financial planning or money or anything like that?
Yeah, actually, we do a lot. I think that this was a conversation that happened maybe 2 years into our relationship, spearheaded by Joey, just kind of like sitting down and creating an annual like sit down where we kind of plan, try to look at everything. What do you got going on? What do I have going on? What do we want to do together? And we did that. We actually went and like rented a space, a workspace, and we actually like collaborated on what everything looks like. And I think that finances is a big part of that conversation.
Yeah, it's important to build and plan together. But, it's easy to just say it and talk about it, but you gotta carve out time to do it. You know what I mean? So like, we booked a WeWork space and like, one day we just like, yeah, let's just have a meeting about our future. You know what I mean? And I think it's been very effective for us because you get to really plan out the lay of the land. When you planning, you're not just reacting. You know what I'm saying? Like you're being proactive about the future that you want to create together.
I love how you said you have to plan. Because if you don't plan, you plan to fail. How many people know that? All right. So when it comes to planning, what type of conversations have you had, or maybe you're having now, about building a family legacy? Obviously, you just had your son last year, so you're already thinking about that. Tell us what those conversations are like.
I mean, again, just going into the idea of future-proofing and looking ahead as far as we can to make sure that we are prepared to weather any storm that comes our way, especially for our children. And, you know, I think when kids are involved, I'm not saying that kids make you want to have financial discipline, but it definitely put that battery in your back. Like, yo, if I ain't had it together then, like, I definitely got to get it together now because, you know, it's not just about us, or it's not just about the moment that we living in. We got to think 20 years from now. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of position, you know, do we want our children to be? Because, you know, you get into the conversation about breaking those generational curses, right? Like, and, you know, learning from the previous generation and understanding what we don't want to repeat, what we want to keep, or what we want more of, and working diligently to give our children or pass our children more, you know what I mean? Better opportunities, because, you know, I feel like for our generation, when you find success, is a lot on us in our community. You know what I mean? It's a lot to hold. When you look at it like our white counterparts, a lot of the time they don't have the same amount of responsibilities that we do, or at least what we feel like we have to take care of. So it's just when you get in like a piece, what you actually say for yourself is much smaller than our counterparts. You know what I mean? So we trying to make sure we can do the best. So when it comes to our children's time, they can have more for them. You know what I mean? And just focus on them. Like, nah, we good. Like, you focus on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know, I like how you said you have to look ahead. It sounds like, Joey, you are a planner. I read that you set up a 529 account, started making investments, and started planning for your son's future before he was even born. Why was that so important to you?
Again, you know, just preparing for the future. Like, when you're dealing with money, I think a lot of the times our financial downfall could be not carving out anything for the side. You know what I mean? Or for the future, I should say. You know what I mean? So I think a 529 plan is the perfect way to do that. And for those of you who don't know what a 529B is, it's pretty much a college savings account for your children that you can save money in tax-free. And you can contribute up to $9,000, I believe, a year. But, you know, with your partner, you guys can match each other. So up to $18,000 a year is what you could carve out to your children's college fund per year. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's important that we do that, because that 500 you may put aside now, in 18 years, what was that gonna compound into? You know what I mean? Like, let's not spend the money on those sneakers or the name brand item, you know what I mean, when that could be going into the future. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, that's why I think it's important. It's another thing too. So, you know, a lot of you might feel a little way about this, but I'm also in the process of opening up one of those Trump accounts for my son. Because if the government giving away free money, you know what I mean? Like, that's our tax-paying dollars. So why not? You know, not that I'm aligned with that administration or anything, but our child is eligible for that savings plan. You know what I mean? And listen, we trying to make sure his future is future-proof. So, you know, it is what it is, you know? The government got a contribution they want to match for my son, say less.
There you go. I love that. How many, yeah, give it up for that. Come on. Responsible Black parents. How many parents do we have in the audience by a show of hands? Okay, we got a lot. All right, y'all got your 529s already? Y'all got your Trump accounts? Okay, all right. Serayah, so, you know, for you, I want to get your perspective on everything because, like I said, you already had a thriving career. Now you're a mother for the first time, and you are also balancing your career and finances. Talk about how that looks for you in your personal life as well as in your family.
As far as the career, I think for me, my biggest thing that I learned being the woman, being pregnant, having to take the time off is definitely preparing for a year or two in advance. So having that cushion for at least a year is a goal. But then, aside from that, I think that all of the things that happened that were out of our control, like COVIDs and strikes in our in the entertainment business, things that you can't control or can't foresee, that has also taught me a lot about saving for the future and making that not a 6-month thing, but a year or 2-year thing possibly. And thank God I did those things at a young age, and I was able to basically have about 3 years of reserve just in case anything. But that COVID and strikes and things really put a lot of things to perspective, because I realized at that moment, which he has given me so much game and knowledge on, because this is like what he does every day. He's like going into the stock market and everything. So I learned a lot from just overhearing. But for me, it was super important to build multiple streams of income. I think as an entertainer, things can be up and down. And now we have AI. There's a lot of things that are changing in our industry and a lot of different industries. So I think it's just important to diversify your money, have it saved, have some growing in places, have some, if you can, obviously, for the next year or two, especially moms, because you don't want to feel rushed to get back in the workforce unless you necessarily, you have to. It's something that I want to do. I love working. I love being able to express myself, and I feel like that's where I'm useful, right? So it was important for me to be able to get back to myself in that way, but then also understand that this is a process and be easy with myself and have grace, which my therapist taught me too. She's right there. Miss Alex.
Shout out to your therapist. Come on, Black therapists. We need more of those in the community.
Yeah, I just saw her. So yeah, there's a lot around the topic, and I think that there's a lot of different facets. And had I known whatever, of course, we would always hopefully prepare better. But I think conversations like this are great because if you haven't went through it yet, you can take the little nuggets, whether that be your career or building a life with someone or creating life, right? Giving new life. I think that there's a lot to talk about when it comes to finances besides just saving. And that's something that I have learned to kind of expand my mind around.
I love that. I think for a lot of us, when we grow up in certain neighborhoods and certain communities, it affects the way our relationship with money later on. And I wanted to ask both of you about your background. Joe, you grew up in Brooklyn. Shout out to Brooklyn. New York in the building. Okay.
Hold on, we got New York in the building. Make some noise.
We outside.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So I'll start with you, Joey. If you could talk about how your background has affected your relationship with money. What did you have to learn and unlearn based on your background and now who you are as an adult?
I'm getting stressed out thinking about it. Man, listen, coming from a Caribbean household.
Okay.
Y'all know how it is. The relationship with money is, I want to say it's a scarcity mindset, so doing the work to unpack that and move away from that and, making certain moves that my village can't always understand, you know what I mean? It's not easy stuff, you know what I mean? But to progress, you gotta break the old mindset. You know what I'm saying? You gotta break the habits. And, I would say what is taught me is that there's definitely more than one way to skin a cat. But I think if you want to like really make true progress and you want to think about the future, you gotta move from a scarcity mindset to a growth mindset. And I think a lot of us, we're coming from family home environments which has primed our mind to, stay a little bit small-minded. And I don't mean that, I don't mean for that to come off aggressively, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you gotta think big, bitch. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta think bigger and to attract bigger things and everything. Like, and shout out to my pops because my dad has given me so much financial wisdom over the years. Like, he's really good at saving his money, Jamaican man. You know what I mean? Like, he's phenomenal at saving his money, but there's certain moments where we clash because my way may be a little bit riskier than something that he's used to.
What do you mean by risky?
I mean, like, yo, listen, like, it take money to make money type of thing. Sometimes you gotta make a big swing. And you know what? A lot of times it's gonna be an expensive lesson that you learn. And I think that's what our parents is trying to protect us from most of the time. But, the failures make you stronger too.
What's the biggest amount you ever invested in the stock market? And what's the biggest you ever lost?
Man, I'm down some shit right now. I tried my hand at day trading recently. I don't got enough time in my day. So, little 50,000 that I lost. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But hey, gotta think big, bitch. You know what I mean?
Look, scared money don't make money. Yeah. Serayah,
I was trying to make like 300, you know what I'm saying? But yo, listen, to the community, day trading, like, I do not advise it. I do not encourage it. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you don't, no. I tried doing it. You know what I mean? It's a difference. I tried doing it. I'm not a day trader. What I was doing was essentially gambling. You know what I mean? Like I got some companies I believe in, but listen, buy and hold. Buy and hold. Think about the future. That quick money, we got to break out of the get rich quick scheme. You know what I'm saying? Like, 9 times out of 10, they gonna take that money right back from you, even when you hit. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't escape them endorphins, that dopamine hit. You want to, especially if you're using Robinhood, my God. No shade. Shout out to Robinhood, but they Robin Hoods.
Serayah, to bring it back to the question about upbringing, you've spoke publicly about being homeless until you landed that role on Empire. Talk about how that upbringing affected your relationship with money, and how does it feel to go from virtually nothing to then just having abundance of wealth? Like, how does that, how do you mentally prepare for something like that?
Yeah, it was a big change there. I think for me, he was speaking on scarcity mindset, and that's definitely kind of what happens when you go through certain things like that, or when you grow up in certain environments like that, right? So that was definitely me earlier on, until I started to learn about growth mindset and what a scarcity mindset even was, because I didn't know that there was even a label for that feeling or those type of habits. So when I started making money, I actually did the opposite of what a lot of young people with money do, is I would still go to H&M. I would still go to Forever 21. I just wasn't used to making the risk or treating myself in that way. And so I had to get out of that. It's processes. I had to get out of doing things like that. And so I think that's why I did have a big savings reserve. But had I known growth, I would have made sure that savings was growing. So I think sometimes you can hold on too tightly because you want to save for a rainy day, or you don't know when the next time this is going to happen. So there's a lot to learn around, especially, you know, when you have what you have right now and when you're looking for that goal or that number or that success, just try to, you know, like nurture yourself through those processes and understanding where you come from, because that will definitely play a part as to how you move with your money or how you spend it. But when we got together, he was spending, honey. Oh, yeah.
Spend that.
Damn,
He's a spender. He's a, hey, big
Damn,
spender.
these lights is bright.
And I was like, you know, you ain't got to do that. Let's save that, you know, let's not, sometimes it's nice, right, ladies, hello, but excessively, I feel like where we're at as a society, where we're at in the world right now, just put your money in certain places where it can be safe and growing and purposeful. I don't think that we need to just be just spending money everywhere.
Listen, you know, I gotta say, to piggyback off of that, like, that is one of my favorite qualities about her. You know what I mean? She is very, like, frugal mindseted, and it has done wonders for me because it took...
Not very, but a little bit. Hold on now.
Frugal. You know what I mean? But it's like it's not all about all of the extra stuff. You know what I mean? And like, from the very beginning, she made me feel good about, like, pulling back. You know what I'm saying? Decreasing my spending and everything, especially when I told her what I was spending. She was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? So I just want to say, like, it's great having a partner like that. You know what I mean? Who wants you to have better financial habits, you know what I mean? And just tendencies all around. So it's like, now to me, living below the means is the flyest shit ever. You know what I mean? Overspending, I'm like, ugh.
Yep.
Living below the means, like, if you could live below the means, you know what I'm saying, and you sitting on some paper, that's fly. That's the flyest shit.
Yeah, exactly. But also because I did the things too. Like, I bought a house, and I'm from Los Angeles, but I bought my first house when I was 26, and it was $1 million home, and I had 2 cars, and then got my mom a car, I got my dad a car. Like, I also spent, and I think, you know, before we met, I had already sold my house and did all those things, and after COVID, all those things. And I seen him doing the same thing, buying the house, having the car. And so I really was also speaking to him from wisdom, like, hey, like, you know,
Yeah,
I know I kind of just did that.
She came in the house like, this is nice, but we don't need all this.
We don't need all of it. But, you know, statistics.
You don't want to downsize? I'm like, downsize? I done worked my whole life for this shit.
Right. And, you know, most couples, there's a saver and a spender. And I'm glad you talked about the balance, because when it comes to building healthy relationships, we have to understand how to respect everybody's relationship with money, because you're 2 different people coming from 2 different backgrounds, but you have to work together and communicate. And it sounds like y'all have gotten to that point where you have that balance and communication. Yeah, y'all can give it up for that. Healthy Black couples, we love that. You know, one thing we touched on just a little bit is when you become the first in your family, and you become the only person in your family, at first, like, the cousins start calling. You got all these cousins all over. That's like, look, I need this, that. You know, all of a sudden, the family becomes dependent on you. And that could be in itself a lot of pressure, not only a financial burden, but an emotional and mental burden. You know, like, I hate telling people no. Like, you know, they'll see me on Instagram like, well, let me hold something, because you out here on the best stages. You with Joey Badass and Serayah. Let me hold something. And I'm like, so I want to know how y'all handle that. How do you handle it being the first in your family or the only one in your family who's successful, especially in Black families?
Well, I have a limit, right, on how much I'm willing to give without anything. You know what I'm saying? But I also, I live by principles. So it's like, if you say you're gonna pay me back, I'm gonna hold you to that. You know what I
Right
mean?
now.
Because all you got is your word. But even if you don't pay me back, don't call me again. Don't call me. That's my boundary. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's important for us to have them because you got to teach people how to deal with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't gonna let kindness be taken for a weakness. Like, listen, I'm down to help, especially if I'm in a position to help. But am I helping somebody who wants to help themselves? That's the real question. You know what I mean? So it's like, when people come to me with egregious asks, I'm like, listen, I don't think you can afford to smoke with me. You dig what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like we don't want that problem. Like I can give you this because I could just give you that. You know what I'm saying? But this, nah, I can't do that. That's too much. Like, first of all, what have you done to get that? And why, when you want to do something new, you want to use my money to fuck it up? Like, you gotta go through the process, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody ain't gonna hit the lotto on the first strike. Most people ain't. Everybody ain't. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, listen, if I could see somebody doing their thing and they on their path and they close to me and I see them trying, I see them having results, that's a different conversation. But then also, listen, when you come to somebody and you asking for help, always keep in mind, how can it help that person? You understand what I'm saying? Because no matter where you go in this world, you can't borrow money for free nowhere. So it's like, for me, like my dad, the way he raised me on is interest. Like, if I'm gonna borrow something from somebody, which like I probably won't, but if I will, I'm paying them back with interest. Because I inconvenienced you. I don't know what you could have did with that money. So when I bring it back, it should be a little cherry on top. Thank you. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the type of boundaries that I feel like we should set with each other. And you shouldn't have to say that. I feel like you shouldn't have to say that to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, that should just be law. Because you go to Bank of America, they gonna hit you in the head. You know what I'm saying? So
You shouldn't have to say it, but you do, because people will take advantage.
absolutely.
Serayah, what are your thoughts
You felt
on
that. You felt that.
Very interesting, because it does happen. As soon as you're on TV, all of a sudden you just got millions of dollars. I'm like, wait, y'all, I'm still getting my checks.
Right. You still figuring it out yourself. And the more money you have, the bigger your expenses become.
Correct. You can't step out the house or do one event without spending thousands of dollars to show up to look like yourself or whatever. So it's a lot into it that people don't see. But also with families specifically, there is a burden, like you said. There is a burden. There is obviously, for me, I can only speak for me. I feel like when I, started from the bottom, now we here, was like for more than just me. It was always about my family, my mom, my dad. And so that was what was kind of driving me to reach higher and higher for success and to do the things I was doing. So I put it on myself as an obligation, but I learned that that's not my space and that's not what I should be responsible for. So I think that like you said, Black household, it was always a drive in me to give my mom something better or to help my dad because they sacrificed so much. Like my parents were teenage parents. I seen them do the best possible job they could with me in every single way. So for me, that became like the fire inside of me that was like, I just got to do something for my people, And so that was my thing. Thank God I don't have family, or immediate family, who try to take advantage of that. I think that it's kind of the opposite. I'm like, let me help you. So that's beautiful in that way. But there are friends or just people that come along the ways who are kind of a little bit, I feel like, more surface level about it. And it's like, okay, girl, now I sent you that money. We're going to act like that never happened.
Right.
You going to send it back?
Mm-hmm.
And it's also telling if you have to ask. Because I feel like, for me anyways, if someone gives me something, I'm going to just put it back. Or I'm going to just give it to you, I think if you have to start asking, it kind of messes up the relationship as well.
Beware of those people who catch amnesia all of a sudden when you give them some money.
Yeah. Right. And also what we learned, because we talked about this a long time ago, but we learned about taking family out as well, or people out as well. I think that when I was early on making money, on Empire, all the things, I'm going out, I'm just handling every bill, card down, card down, card down. After a while, I'm like, hold on. Ain't nobody gonna say, nope, they're not. So be ready for that too. So what you have to start doing is either communicate that, or usually that's awkward. So what I do is I just start to kind of have a smaller circle, do things a little different, because you're going out, you paying for everybody drinking bottles in the section and you know what I'm saying? You doing everything, and you look up at the end of your tax year, you're like, wait a minute. This is what happened. Right. You know what I mean? So I think that was a big lesson early in my 20s, having money and having fun and doing things. And having the means, right? Like, it was money I could spend, but now, if it's money I could spend, I wouldn't spend it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
It's being smart with your money. I loved how you talked about, your parents, they did the best that they could with you. Now that you're a parent and you both have a son together, what are some financial lessons you're teaching or want to teach him? Or maybe some mistakes y'all made financially that you don't want him to make? What are you doing different as parents?
Definitely spending habits. You know what I mean? Like, I think the greatest lesson is, for whatever reason, when you start making more, you think you should spend more. So that's one, passing on the nugget of, I didn't have anybody to tell me, live below your means. Well, actually, my dad tried to.
Right.
You know what I mean? My dad tried to, but, I didn't live in my dad's house. So, you know what I'm saying? I had to learn that lesson for my own. But this boy, he gonna listen to me. So, yeah, I would say that's the main thing, just getting way better with spending and thinking ahead of the future. Because, my dad definitely tried to tell me, he's like, yo, Javon, you're getting all of this money now, but, things may look nice now, but nothing is promised forever. You know what I'm saying? So then now me and my dad is closer than ever, because I'm like, yo, you was right, Pop. You was right. You know what I'm saying? I should have listened. Boom, boom, boom. So, yeah, I definitely want to make sure that I can get that through to my son. We can get that through to our son sooner,
Yeah, I would piggyback off of that, honestly. Spending habits, planning for the future. Also, what do you want to do, and how are you going to do it? Like, really plan out what you feel your future looks like, and what does that mean as far as your bank account. Also, I think it's really cool to, obviously we're doing the saving and growing the account for our kids now, but it's also about giving that to them, but before they touch it, have a plan, I think that there should be some type of boundary around it as well. And I think that they'll be on their way. They have a little, launching pad that we didn't have. And I think that that's a goal of mine.
A safety net. We're running out of time, unfortunately. But before we let you go, I want to ask, as two Black creatives, what do you believe needs to happen for Black families and the Black community in order to build generational wealth and thrive in unity? We'll start with you, Serayah.
Well, first, I think that we should operate together and work together. I think that we should stop gender rolling everything. I think that we should, at this point, where we at, we should work together, and it should be a team. Your partner should be your teammate, in everything that you're doing. Also, I would say in the Black community, to focus on what matters the most. Focus on what matters the most. Like we just said, for this past however long we've been up at 45 minutes, just spending habits and wanting to look fly and nice, we get it. Wanting the nice car, we get it. But do things within your means and really think about, for me, I'm like, actually, I'd rather travel. I think about what you want your life to really look like besides the things, and plan ahead for that. I know he has some good gems.
I would say communication, you know, like coming from that scarcity mindset, we are used to hiding from each other. But when we're in that tribe, we have to understand the resources that we all have so that we can build together. But one thing that I don't see happening enough in Black homes is trust building, you know, building out a trust, talking about the will, setting up the will, life insurance plan, you know what I mean? Like, it's all about, it's all communication. Like, our elders, eventually they're gonna pass on. What is the plan for what they worked hard for once they pass? Let's have this conversation now while they are here, rather than now is the funeral. Everybody is, you know what I'm saying, stressed out, emotional. We can't have this conversation. It's only making things worse. And now people are upset. We got to have these conversations much sooner. You know what I mean? Because we got a plan for the future.
We got a plan for the future. Everybody, give it up one time for Serayah McNeil and Joey Bada.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Beautiful conversation, beautiful couple. We love what y'all are doing for the community. Thank y'all.